Liz Crosby here with a new series. I'm going to call this series Breaking the Wheel, because I think we can all agree that the last season of Game of Thrones was terrible. So we're going to take off where Daenerys left off, and we're going to actually break the wheel. So it has been long-standing amongst humans on planet Earth that we have not been able to conduct the Kundalini energy up the spine. And part of the reason for that is because the infrastructure is just not there, right? We need to be able to create an energy conduit that can withstand a significant electromagnetic pulse. So, right, you get what you ask for, and in order to ask, we have to actually rearrange what are called the gunas. So stop worshiping Ganesha as a separate entity. You are Ganesha. Gunas plus Isha is rearrangement of gunas yields devotion to all that is. So that's why I'm putting this out there, because as you break your own wheel, it will benefit all of existence. That is not an understatement. So we're going to utilize wall to do most of our work. So have a wall space where you can work on both inversions and backbends, because we are about to undertake androgyny as a way of being. We're going to literally embody the phallic energy of the male member by becoming the headstand, the form balance, the handstand, straight up and down, and of course maybe even working into planche, so building that significant strength, and also using the heat as soon as it's created to open up space and become the ankh, right? To become that curvaceous flower of life. So get excited. This should be a fun little series, and I'm so stoked to be starting it as all of this energy moves into Gemini, which is probably one of the most androgynous signs of the zodiac. So let's get started. Part 1. So in order to send fire from solar plexus through the uppermost chakras, including number 4, which is the one we hope to break open, the wheel, we do want to make our arms the foundation. So we're going to start with handstand, because it is a great place to build upper body strength, and everybody seems to want to go there right away. So starting in tabletop pose, you're going to lift your wrists up. Right, so I'm peeling the heels of my hands up off of the mat and lifting. This is like a little wrist push-up. So we're warming up the wrists for weight bearing. All right, and now actually roll, right? Roll the eye of your elbow in towards your center line. You can do that with both sides. Just kind of roll both ways. But this is the action that we want, the unseen action we want as we move into handstands. So this consistent spiraling vortexual energy through the arms. And now just take some circles around the wrists. Switch the direction of your circles. Getting these guys warmed up. Switch the configuration of the hands, maybe fingers point out. Switch up the direction. Fingers point back. Keep switching up the direction of your circles. And lastly, fingers point towards midline. All right, so now palms face up, fingers point towards midline. Bend in your elbows, ball your hands into fists, and straighten through the arms, breathe into your wrists. Amazing. All right, let's take it to the wall space. So I know I need to definitely preface with saying I am by no means a professional hand balancer, and I'm sure that most professional hand balancers would say that my form is crap, and I would have to agree with them, but we do need to move beyond where we're currently at in the yoga community, and these one-handed handstand drills just need to start making their way into the collective demographic. So I'm going to teach them because I do have an audience and people will listen. I'm not asking for any money. I'm just saying, like, it's time to go there. It's time to actually move the Kundalini energy up past number 4 so we can process the karmic debris with the sattvic gunas, throat chakra and brow chakra, sound, ether, and light elements, so that we can actually purge the karmic debris. So that is my main objective here. It's pure intentions. So please also practice ahimsa. We are lovingly expanding consciousness in the sphere here. All right, so wall is a nice flat line. If you are first starting to work into your handstands, the most difficult thing will be bringing your hips directly over your shoulders. So we're going to work into it nice and slowly. You can start literally with down dog, a short down dog next to the wall. And if you want to, you can measure out the distance of your legs. So the hand should be about a leg's distance away from wall. Spiral the biceps forward and hollow out the armpits, broaden across the traps. Melt your heart towards your thighs, but also knit the floating ribs together at the same time. Now walk your feet up the wall, coming into an L shape. You're pressing the feet into the wall, and again, re-extending out to the sit bones. So in Sanskrit, handstand is upside down tree. Visualize yourself growing roots by sending that pulse of energy down through solar plexus and through the arms, through the hands. Ride those rooting and rebounding forces back up again, all the way out to the tailbone. Maybe extend a leg. Starting to replicate the handstand formation, and then switch. Good stuff, warming up the upper half. Can you feel the heat induction in the upper half of the body slowly building? And then release it back down into your downward facing, shortened. You can set the hips against the wall and roll up through to standing. So now that we have a certain allotment of heat in the upper half, otherwise known as tapas in yogic philosophy, heat for purification, one of the niyamas, second limb. Now we use it to create space, right? To practice svadhyaya, which is self-study. So we now have a light with which to see, right? Especially concentrated in the upper half. So give yourself about 2 feet distance away from wall. Oh yes, we're making love with wall. Wall is what unites the lovers. Midsummer Night's Dream, any of you English literary nerds, walk your hands up the wall and melt your heart towards the wall. Stick your butt out. Nice deep Ujjayi breaths here. Again, proud conquerors, so meditate on all 4 parts of the breath cycle. You really want to get your whole chest and chin to the wall. And then sticking the butt out is what allows you to alleviate any pressure in the lumbar. And you can continue to concentrate that energy into the thoracic. Oh, glorious. And then just peel yourself up off of the wall. The lovers are within. So, right, this is taking it back to Daenerys. She has the 3 dragons. So in the caduceus, we have the staff and the 2 snakes weaving up it. The 2 snakes are masculine and feminine polarities, and then they balance each other out, and we merge into the one channel, the Shishuna. She loses 2 of her dragons and 1 remains, right? So I'm going to stop nerding out now. All right, I want us to try, and this might be a little bit of a challenge for most of us when we're first beginning to walk our handstand all the way into the wall. Just do what you can and see how it goes. And of course, you may not walk it all the way in because you may have too much muscle tension in your shoulder girdle to actually allow for that straight line. And if that's you, if when you extend your arms, they come here, then don't force it because, of course, your muscles are going to forbid it and you may end up having to eject rapidly. So know that you can also cartwheel out to the side. So have an evacuation route. Make sure that there's no objects in the way or people so that when you cartwheel out to the side, you have space for your legs to land. And this is so clutch for helping us to find that straight line, right? I'm talking like Conan the Barbarian with the knife straight up into the sky, the sword, or, Luke Skywalker. This is the divine masculine straight up and down, Shiva Lingam. It's infinite. All right, so this is one that you can constantly return back to, and we will return back to it in just a few moments. All right, so back into the L shape against the wall. Walk it in.
And you walk by shifting weight into one side and then adjusting the other hand. Walk it in, walk it in, walk it in until your heels of your hands are relatively close to the floorboard. You do want to kind of take account for your toes. So now here, just toes and nose touch the wall. Good. Corset those floating ribs together. Squeeze the legs together at the top. Reach out to the balls of the feet. There is a slight engagement of the glute. And when you're complete here, slowly start to walk it back out again. And of course, you can also cartwheel out to the side. So now that we have, again, a significant amount of heat in the upper half, give yourself an arm's distance away from the wall. Now, turn to face the center of the room. Feet are about hips distance apart. Engage your quadriceps, lift them up, and engage your core. Shift your hips forward. Reach your arms back towards wall. And connect with wall. Deep Ujjayi breaths here. Breathe into that space. And then slowly roll the spine back up. Using your core strength. Whew. Amazing. So you may feel more energy pouring through as you slowly unearth and excavate this space. But again, we're doing the masculine aspect first, and then moving into the feminine aspect. So we're going to close it up with potentially lifting a hand up, right? And I've been talking about this a lot. We do single standing leg postures. We should be doing single standing leg postures, as well as single standing arm postures. So it's the arm, leg, arm, head, Allah. It's the pentagram, right? The 5-pointed star circumscribed in the circle. This is important because the energy needs to release out of the upper half. This is the part of our sphere of existence that has not been getting nearly enough light from solar plexus, because by virtue of the fact we haven't been using our hands as a foundational point nearly as much as our legs, and there is a definitive energetic imbalance between the lower half and the upper half. So if this is too advanced for you, please just watch. And again, this is by no means Andre Bondarenko status. He has a whole online series. I highly recommend it. This is just a free video on YouTube. I just want to get people handstanding. So do listen to your body, practice ahimsa, and choose not to do it. Maybe watch it first and then decide to do it if you feel confident, if you feel comfortable. So you do most definitely want to be comfortable in the toes and nose first, because we're going to be doing toes and nose and removing a hand. And as you do this, you want the hand that is grounded to push through the floor so that the opposite shoulder lifts a little bit, right? And that will provide an amplified energy current with which to be able to stabilize in the middle of the room one day. We do have to build the strength and fortification necessary. Most yogis in the yoga community are not pushing in their handstands. They are just relaxing in their bones. So if you haven't done this yet and you're a yogi and you've been practicing your two-handed handstand, again, this is going to be a challenge, most definitely, most likely, because you will find that you may not have been pushing. And this is also why people start to bring in the hand balancing blocks, the hand balancing boards, as they move into the one-handed handstand. So feel free to use them if you've got them, because there is definitely going to be this moment where your wrist is learning how to conduct that much energy, right? It's kind of atrophied over the generations, over the centuries of lack of temple maintenance. It happens. We've all inherited the same karmic inventory, very similar because of our culturally appropriated mental conditioning. So let's get to it. All right, so walk it in from your L shape once more.
And you can do legs apart just a little bit if you'd like, but make sure that you are still maintaining that tuck of the tailbone, neutral pelvic bowl. Now shift weight toward the side. Again, you might just start by lifting up onto fingertips. Maybe get into less fingers. And then maybe float that arm up. Of course, it is very customary for the hand to stay out wide, because it's easier to find the energetic balance to align with the nadis. And then switch over to the other side. Shift. Float up onto fingertips. Spread those fingers wide. Push straight down through the hand. Your drishti is very much the center of your hand here. Continually work those spiraling vortexual energies through the arm. Push, 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 push. Again, of course, you can lift the arm up, but it's easier to find the stack and the alignment if the hand is just out to the side. Notice the shoulder is still higher than the grounded arm. And just hold as long as you can. You can repeat. Walk it back out when you're complete. All right. Whew. Lots of heat, yet again, in the upper half. So we'll do one more back bend, and again, we are going to continue to expand upon what we've been doing. If you want to revisit puppy dog against the wall, or stand, reach back, touch the wall, feel free. I'm going to start an Urdhva and press my heart against the wall, because the wall is such a useful ally in sending a direct current of energy into the thoracic spine for a blissful opening. So choose any of those orientations that works best for you. And I'm going to start lying down first. So in case any of you are not familiar with drop backs, you'll know how to get into this posture safely. And that being said too, if you'd like to work your drop backs, this is an excellent way to work on your drop backs as well. So lie down next to wall. This might be very telling too, because most people just practice Urdhva in the middle of the room. And then when they go to try to press their heart up against the wall seems really far away because the arc is like this instead of like this, right? So we want to draw it in. And how do we do that? We open up the thoracic. Really want to make sure that we're working on opening up the thoracic first and foremost. All right, pressing down through the bridges of the feet. Roll the spine up. Press up, lift up into your Urdhva, and then maybe press the heart into the wall. Option to rise it up, come to stand. Whew. Of course, you can always work on going back down again. Amazing. Whew. All right, so let's finish up with a twist. So our arms may not be used to doing that much energy conductivity. We are energy conduits, Wardenclyffe towers in training. So take your time with this. One forearm can come down to mat. Opposite knee massages from elbow crease down to wrist. And switch. And we'll go over the other planes as well, forearm balance, headstand, all the things, chest stand, funky pincha. So if the handstands get too challenging, of course, just switch up the plane. All right, cross the shins and roll over the legs. Take a simple cross-legged position, half lotus or full lotus. We're just going to twist it out because this is just a little bite-sized chunk. Like we're kind of workshopping things. So if you want to take an actual class, I have a lot of classes on YouTube as well. But I just want you to neutralize the spine after the back bending. So cactus the arms and twist to the left, exhale to the right. Really ground down through your seat. Feel your pelvic bowl grounding into the earth, like you're plugging into an outlet. And then feel all of those little tiny spaces, those gaps that open up in between the vertebrae as you twist and send breath into those spaces.
Then start to slow it back down again. Hands to thighs, steady the spine, and pause for a few breaths. All right, so of course, if you want to, you can get in some side bends and some forward folds to furthermore counterbalance the back bends, but this is just the first installment of our Breaking the Wheel series. I'm so excited to show you all of the things that you can do with wall to open up and activate your heart chakra. And this way you can run your Kundalini energy up through your own spine without having to utilize external stimulus, which is very, very beneficial because we do want to be processing the karmic debris as we're retrieving it, right? This is the real untethered soul. Don't just read the book. This is real soul retrieval. So I'm very excited to share this information with you. This is what I've been able to extrapolate over the years, and I'm hoping to give it to you in bite-sized chunks that are easy to digest. So have a lovely day, and I'm so excited to get underway with this series. Namaste.